Hey everyone, hope you're all having a fantastic day today. I want to talk about why Mists of Pandaria is my favorite World of Warcraft expansion. And while I do that, I'm going to be casually walking through the Jade Forest on my first World of Warcraft character I ever made, my Draenei Paladin. And I guess just to preface, I think World of Warcraft for me, and especially Mists of Pandaria, that was my introduction to actually playing the game in the first place. I remember my stepdad would play on certain private servers that were kind of locked in Wrath of the Lich King or Cataclysm, and I remember playing on those private servers a little bit before I actually started retail WoW. But when I did start retail WoW, Mists of Pandaria was the expansion that was most recent, the most modern one. And with that, I think that automatically makes Mists of Pandaria my most nostalgic expansion, and so I understand that definitely has cognitive bias on why I think it is my favorite expansion. But regardless, I still want to talk about just how beautiful this expansion is and why I think Mists of Pandaria is definitely set apart from really any of the other World of Warcraft expansions. I kind of wrote up a little essay about it, but I think I'm just going to stick to just free flow talking about it, and I think I get more authentic ideas that way. And I might include bits and pieces of my essay in the video, but really I just want to get started. I think the first reason why I love Mists of Pandaria is the art style and the aesthetic of each zone in this expansion itself. I think especially the Jade Forest, there's just beautiful surreal architecture, all Eastern themed, and it just has a nice, gentle, melodic feel to it that definitely sets it apart for me from, say, the Burning Crusade or Wrath of the Lich King, really any other expansion. I think Mists of Pandaria took a huge deviation in how you'd expect World of Warcraft to look like, and I think that's why it got a lot of backlash at first. I think the introduction of the Pandaren race was definitely controversial because people thought World of Warcraft's turning into a goofy game, it's more cartoonish now, it doesn't have that serious tone.
I figured it out. Skadoosh.
And for me personally, I honestly liked that. I liked that there was a strong deviation in what you'd expect World of Warcraft to be. And I think kind of subverting those expectations as you would, like Ryan Johnson Last Jedi kind of thing. Don't really want to compare Mists of Pandaria to that. But I think that it's definitely not a bad thing to kind of change up how you'd originally view something. And I think it allows for more personal growth in how you can view different things and similar things with different perspectives. And with that, I think the story of Mists of Pandaria was really good as well. Especially looking into the launch trailer itself, it really shows that the humans and orcs, they're fighting each other, but the reasons behind them fighting each other aren't really grounded in the present anymore. It's very much an anchor into the past, and that's the reason there's still so much conflict between those two factions. And we definitely see that in really any other expansion. There is a world-ending threat, and the Horde and Alliance have to reluctantly side together to fight this big threat, and then right after that they fight each other again. And I think that makes sense mechanically for the game because that's kind of how the game was designed from the ground up, to have these two opposing factions that you play as. But I think in Mists of Pandaria it took that and kind of laughed at that concept, and we especially see that in the launch trailer where the orc and human are fighting each other, and then the Pandaren show up, and then the orc and human have to reluctantly team up together to fight the Pandaren guy. And that's really the formula for any other World of Warcraft expansion. And then the Pandaren is toying with that concept and eventually throws it in the face of both of them, while showing that the Pandaren was really never the threat in the first place, and that they were just the threat to themselves, and then revealing this beautiful foreign world that was covered in mist. And I really do want to share a story that I found funny when I was thinking back on kind of Mists of Pandaria, even before I owned the expansion. So when I was leveling up in Cataclysm, on this exact character right here, and I was getting into the level 80s, and I was getting antsy. I really wanted to play Mists of Pandaria, and I didn't own it yet. I mean, I was 12 years old at the time, so I really didn't have any money. And I looked at the map. Let me pull it up quick. I'm looking at the map here, and I'm in Stormwind at that time. I remember I was at the harbors, and I'm thinking, how do I get to Mists of Pandaria? How do I get to Pandaria without buying the expansion? And I just recently obtained the Artisan Flying. I spent like the 4,000 gold to get that, so I had 280% flight speed, so I could go pretty quick. So I'm thinking maybe if I fly, like if I strategically place it, like I get right to the edge of the Eastern Kingdoms, right on the far western side on the Stormwind Harbors, and I just fly straight as fast as I can, maybe I will end up in Pandaria. Like it's not super far. Like I could just cross the ocean real quick, but you know how it goes. I got to, let's see, I got to like this point right here. And then the fatigue bar started showing up, and I'm like, huh, what's a fatigue bar? And I vividly remember that was the first time that I ever saw a fatigue bar. And it was because I was trying to fly to Pandaria without buying the expansion. I thought I could outsmart Blizzard by, breaking through the barriers of the continents and getting to Pandaria just by flying there. And I think that naivety of a 12-year-old playing a open world video game, I definitely look back on that memory very fondly, and I applaud myself for giving that the honest college try of trying to fly to Pandaria for free. But capitalism, it's corporate America, you gotta buy the expansion. And so I remember my dad's girlfriend at the time for Christmas bought me the Mists of Pandaria expansion when it was on sale, like the winter sale in 2012, and definitely giving her a shout out. Thanks for buying me Mists of Pandaria. And ever since then, I've been really in love with World of Warcraft and always playing the new expansions. I really haven't played the World Within, or whatever it's called. I've been kind of sticking to classic still when I do play World of Warcraft, so that's kind of the first expansion I haven't got recently, like when it actually released. But I'm still having fun in World of Warcraft, and to get back onto the point of Mists of Pandaria and why it is my favorite expansion to continue with, aside from the aesthetic of the zones and how much contrast and variation there are in the zones in Mists of Pandaria. Like, for example, you got the Jade Forest. It's the introduction zone. It's beautiful, it's lush, it's green, there's awesome architecture, and it's just a very peaceful and serene experience. And I always look back on this zone, and anytime I have to go back to this zone for leveling or anything, I look back on it very fondly, and it's just such a nice, it feels like home in a video game, for me personally. I know a lot of people say that Grizzly Hills in Northrend feels like home, and I definitely agree to an extent there, but for me, Jade Forest is where it's at. And then you have like Kunlai Summit, Townlong Steps. The Dread Waste is like a complete juxtaposition from any other zone. It's super dark and blue, and there's void energy, and it's just very, very interesting zone that I really like the aesthetic of as well in its own way, because it still fits under the criteria of being within Pandaria. It all has that cool foreign kind of beautiful surreal architecture and designs. And I'm definitely going to include some footage I've taken throughout the expansion of just little areas and little environments that I just love to get footage of because it's just so beautiful in my opinion. And then you have the Kresaring Wilds, the Valley of Four Winds. I think the Valley of Four Winds, like Kunlai Summit, Townlong Steps, are kind of similar. The Veil of Eternal Blossoms. I mean, like, that zone is so sick simply because during the final patch, they literally, like, shifted the whole zone and destroyed the statues because Garrosh Hellscream was being a tyrant at the time and just really not being a peaceful Zen master. And yeah, screw Garrosh for that, but I really wish they would have re-preserved the Veil of Eternal Blossoms and brought it back to its original state. I think that would have been sick. but it's still being tormented by like the corruption from the battle for Azeroth, I think. So yeah, we're gonna have to unfortunately sit with that. I can't believe that's still happening. It's funny that that event's still going on. And on a philosophical level, I think the Mists of Pandaria, I didn't really appreciate at the time for this, but since I've personally kind of got back into got into in the first place just mindfulness, meditation, and just reading philosophy and kind of delving into that way of thinking and viewing things, Pandaria is a perfect reflection of that in a video game. Like, these Pandaren are all meditating all the time. They're all Zen masters. They're just trying to find that inner peace. They're just trying to vibe. You just gotta let the Pandarans vibe, and they're enjoying their time. They're drinking their beer. They're drinking tea. They're eating good, and I think that is respectable as fuck. And I think that that sets Pandaria apart for me from a lot of other expansions. And I'm not saying this like other expansions are bad or anything. I think every World of Warcraft expansion is unique in their own way and offers a lot of variety and entertainment. I think some more than others. Not to name any, but I think you already know which ones I'm talking about there. But just Pandaria, for me, it really just sits apart from all those other expansions. And definitely because of the bias of it being my first expansion. But there's just so many awesome moments and just awesome aspects of this expansion that I just personally love so much. And not just the zones and aesthetics there, but the armor as well. Oh my gosh, the armor in Mists of Pandaria is so cool, especially for plate. This armor I remember getting from the Timeless Isle, and well, not the gloves, those are Northrend. The belt is from the Magushan raid, I believe. The pants are the Prideful Gladiator pants, I think they're called. And yeah, this weapon's from the Burning Crusade, from like the Grom raid or something like that. But yeah, just the armor in Mists of Pandaria is so cool, and it has that nice fantastical Eastern themed, just samurai, just really cool details. And a big reason I'm really making this video in the first place is that Mists of Pandaria Classic is coming out this year in the summer, I believe. I think in August 2025, Mists of Pandaria Classic's coming out, and I am very excited to play in these expansions again. See, look at this Pandaren guy. He's just vibing, just enjoying himself. He's sitting in nature, just enjoying the view. Just imagine being in this Pandaran's in his space, just chilling on this rock. Just a couple clouds in the sky, just the nice chirping of birds and insects, and this little wheel in the town. Maybe some chit chat in the restaurant. Maybe he works there and he's just on break or something. I don't know. It's just very immersive for me personally. Let's see here. What's going on down here? But I could really talk on and on about why I love this expansion so much, and it definitely comes down very much to the visuals of the expansion and kind of the emotions that it brings up. Just the peacefulness, the mindfulness, the tranquility, and then also the kind of concept of invasions from external forces that are in conflict with themselves, but they kind of allow that conflict to affect other areas that weren't even trying to do anything about it in the first place. And kind of the role of that, of, you know, you can be as peaceful as you want, you can be as isolated as you wish, but the world is still the world, and no matter what, like, reality will come knocking when it does, and to always be prepared for difficulties as well as, you know, good things as well, and just the balance of all of that. And I think that's definitely a theme in a lot of World of Warcraft, is, yes, the world is grounded in war. It's grounded in conflict, division, people fighting each other, and there's always those big threats that you have to come together to face together, and it shows that there's more to it than petty squabbles between populations, and that humanity will always come together when it needs to. And I think that Miss of Pandaria is a very good reflection of that personally. And yeah, those are kind of the main concepts I want to talk about. I think to talk about a couple specific things about the expansion, I love the Cloud Serpents. Let me hop on mine right now. I remember doing the quest in the Jade Forest to unlock the Cloud Serpents, and just a very, very beautiful mount, and I think it just goes flawlessly with the... Oh, look at this. This is the Cloud Serpent area where you unlock them. And it's very similar to the Netherwing quest, where you have to do dailies and it's kind of a reputation grind. And there's also Cloud Serpent eggs that you have to loot throughout these mountains. And I recently just did the Netherwing farm on Cataclysm Classic, because I'm just getting some mounts and stuff. I'm prepping for Miss of Pandaria, and I never did the Netherwings before, so... But it's very similar to that, but the Cloud Serpents are just next level. They are such a cool looking mount, and the animations are just... Wow, it is just such a nice animation. It's so satisfying to watch them fly. And I am so looking forward to Miss of Pandaria Classic. And I'm not sure if anyone watching this video, if you're playing the Cataclysm Classic client right now, if you're playing that specific version, there is a 40 gigabyte update available that updates the textures of all of the world, all of the armor, really everything. It upscales the textures, and my god, is it effective in doing that. It literally turns every classic armor piece, like every tier set, everything into this high-res version of it. And for me, it really changes, it makes the game feel way more novel, and it makes every piece of armor, no matter if it's classic, Burning Crusade, Wrath of the Lich King, it all feels equal in its own way now, because it all has the upscaled textures. And with the environment too, the trees are more high-res, the grass. I'm definitely a very visual person when I'm playing these games, and for me that's a really big deal. And I find it just so immersive, and just kind of allowing myself to view the game as something new again. And I definitely recommend, if you have access to that update, to give it a shot and just look at all the little intricate differences in the armor and the mounts. Everything just looks so beautiful now, and I'm so looking forward to all the Miss of Pandaria armor and the zones being more high-res than they already are. And that is just going to be fantastic. I cannot wait for that. So without further ado, I don't want to keep you here too long. I'm sure you all have busy days going on. But these are the reasons why Miss of Pandaria is my favorite expansion personally. And there's so many more that I'm sure I missed in this video. But those are kind of what came to mind above others at this point. And let me know in the comments, is Miss of Pandaria your favorite expansion? Is it your least favorite expansion? I'd love to hear your opinions in the comment section. And will you be playing not Cataclysm? I mean, you might be playing it right now, but will you be playing Miss of Pandaria Classic when it comes out? I'd love to hear if you're going to be hopping on the bandwagon, or you already had your fun back in the golden days in 2012 when it was originally out. Yeah, I'd just love to hear what you have to say in the comments. So without further ado, I'll end it there. If you enjoyed the video, feel free to leave a like. And if you like listening to MMO videos, I will definitely be making more World of Warcraft videos. But I also make EverQuest videos, and just really any video that I feel interested in making at the time. So if you're interested in hearing what I got to say in the future, feel free to subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. We're hitting 2,000 subscribers. We are fastly approaching it, so very grateful to everyone who watches these videos. But anyways, take care everyone. I hope you have a great day. Peace.